Welcome back, everyone, to another Company of Heroes 2 replay cast. This time I'm going to have a 3v3 sent in by someone, I believe. Let's find the Soviet player. Such Времени. Okay, thank you for sending this in, and it's going to be on Red Ball Express. Interesting map, but we'll see more about it soon enough. Kingpin is going to be his ally, playing as the UKF, and Jorsk playing also as the UKF. So 2 British, 1 Soviet, versus Iron Fighter 40, Big Ben Zero, OKW, and Professor Colonel Theo. That's an interesting name. Playing as the Germans. So 2 Wehrmacht versus 2 British, 1 OKW versus 1 Soviet. Pretty standard stuff. And all the units are already going out to cap. We do see a machine gun coming out of Kingpin, and it's kind of sitting there, so that's unfortunate. He's going to have to bring it out on the field. Machine gun mirrored by Jorsk. So both of the British players really liking their suppression, and it does seem like they're going to need it because Big Ben Zero is trying to double team on the left flank against Jorsk, and he's going to be building a trench right off the bat instead of capturing a point, which is an interesting choice because of the fact that he could have just gone for the heavy cover somewhere else. There's a lot of heavy cover on the left side of the map, and I don't think that the trench is going to be that worth it with the 50 manpower price tag at the beginning. It's kind of actually expensive. It's only good because of the fact that the enemy can't grab it. On the right side, it seems like Such Vremeni is going to have a pretty easy time. Actually, I'm just going to call him Such. Such is going to have a pretty easy time along with his friend Kingpin capturing the right side of the map, because there's pretty much nothing that the Germans can do with only one player going that way. And right now, he's going to use the trench to get the machine gun firing on these Germans and have a pretty safe position at it, which is pretty good for him. Unfortunately, the Storm Pioneers managed to basically do the damage before the machine gun can suppress them and get into heavy cover. So they managed to deal 3 casualties to the infantry section while taking 3 casualties themselves, which is a decent trade for Big Ben because he's going to be able to retreat those Storm Pioneers with the point being captured on his side. And so when the reinforcements come, they're going to be at a defensive position instead of having to attack into the point and into the machine gun. So that was pretty successful for Big Ben. In the left side, or sorry, the right side, you see this MG42 trying to set up, but it's going to be gunned down by the combination of the Vickers and the infantry sections and the conscripts being flanked. So pretty much having to run away as soon as he set up. Might even go down if the conscripts can manage to get a few shots into the back, but they don't manage to hit the target as it's retreating. And right now, along with the support of the machine gun, the Soviets are going to be able to advance pretty easily. So right now, the Germans on the right side taking a lot of damage in general, and they're going to have to retreat. But on the left side, we see a mirror, and the Germans are able to bring in lots of forces and capture some territory. There's still the question of this trench, so I think that Iron Fighter should really be going for a mortar as quickly as possible instead of these Grenadiers, because if you spam Grenadiers, yes, it's going to be fine. You're going to capture a lot of points, but Red Ball Express is not a map where you need a lot of capping power because there's a few points that are kind of inaccessible to you because it's a very choke pointy map sometimes. So it's better to have something that can deal the damage to the enemy rather than having something that can run around the map quickly and capture points. And right now, the Free Grenadier squads are not going to be that great against the trench. I think that the mortar would really be important right now, but we do see that Big Ben does have a truck available to him. So we'll see if he goes for that battle quarters and uses that 700 manpower that he has to get out a support gun or 2 to get rid of this position, because really they need to do something about the trench. And it's basically the only option that they have available is to go grab some kind of light mortar or light support gun. And it looks like, yeah, it's going to be a battle group headquarters because there's really no reason to put a mechanized regiment headquarters so close to the front. And it's also going to be a very interesting sort of retreat point for the Germans, especially because it seems like Iron Fighter is also fortifying up his position. But he kind of made a mistake. He kind of let the British have the stone house, which is going to be a bit of a pain in the ass for him because his machine gun is going to be able to put down quite a lot of fire against the infantry section, but not able to suppress them. So the infantry section, in the meantime, while they die, sort of, while the Germans are waiting for them to die, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage to Germans. On the right side, the Allies have complete control of the right side of the map, and they also have some mortars here as well. So Such going for a mortar, and right now his conscripts are retreating. He has chosen the advanced warfare tactics, which is going to be excellent for the radio intercept. He actually told me in the email that the radio intercept is going to come in very handy. And it can be very easily seen if the Germans go for something like this Raketenwerfer and Sud Fremini had to go with some light vehicles. He's gonna know about that and cut a lot of things in general. Also, the mortar half track kind of telling him what doctrines the Germans are going for. So it's in general a very useful. Also, the pack gun that I think Iron Father just wait what? Oh no, that was the Reckenwerfer. Right, never mind. Because he said pack gun, so I thought it was actually a pack. But oh well. Yes, very useful to know what the Germans are going for. And right now, also the center is being capped by the Allies, but I think that this sort of counterattack from the Germans is going to be able to retake it from these engineers. And we do see the first Grenadiers with the LMGs coming out of Theo. And that's going to be okay, especially on the right side of the map, because it doesn't look like the Allies have quite as many sort of fortifications on the right side. Or never mind, they actually do. I did not see these trenches earlier, and they also have control of the mansion. So the Soviet Maxim is going to be able to fire from the mansion, pretty much suppressing any unit that's trying to come this way. What's important to remember about this mansion is that it doesn't have any windows to the north and south. So to the straight north and south, you can't really rely upon this as a defensive measure. So you should always have something protecting it from this sort of axis of advance. And right now, these Grenadiers are just being massacred. They're trying to make a flank maneuver, but they're basically just being completely destroyed by the Soviet infantry and the infantry sections. They tried to flank the Maxim because, again, there is no window facing the south for this Maxim, but eventually they were just repulsed. And we see a AEC armored car from Jors. Kingpin also has tier 2 available to him, but he has gone for the Bofors 40mm upgrade and not the armored car upgrade. And right now we do see that the League support gun is kind of in danger from the AEC, but we do see the Reckenwerfer trying to repel the AEC. Misses completely its first shot, which is kind of sad. And it's going to be... Wait, what died? Cubewagen. Rip Cubewagen from the Vickers machine gun. Vickers machine gun up to vet 2, so having the armor-piercing rounds available to it. Going to be extremely useful against German light vehicles if they come, such as this armored car. 2 is on the field for Iron Fighter, and right now Sud Fremini is going to have to sort of deal with it, but he does have anti-tank grenades available to him. Also Molotovs, so Molotov is going to be coming out and taking out the machine gun, hopefully being able to wipe it out, maybe very close to death, and with the support of the infantry section, there they go. Right now, the anti-tank grenades could be coming out of the conscripts. They decide not to, and that might mean the death of the machine gun, actually. I would have gone for the anti-tank grenade, but it looks like, yeah, it looks like the mortar is also doing damage, so the anti-tank grenade might have even led to the armored car going down if the British infantry sections kept firing upon them. But we do see the counter to the infantry sections in the form of the sniper. Sniper going to be able to pick off those British infantrymen without them being able to do much, and right now the AC finishes off the armored car. Armored car doing quite a bit of damage actually to the AC, but thankfully they were able to basically just destroy it before it could do much. And also artillery strike coming in on the German positions near the battle cruisers, but there's only one gun, 125 pounder, that's going to be firing on that, so it's very likely that it's just going to miss and not really do much. We'll keep an eye on it. And right now the Germans on the left side are actually advancing quite sort of mercilessly. And right now the 6-pounder anti-tank gun from Jors is being pushed back a little bit. And yeah, the artillery is completely missing. It's being pushed back, and also the AC is being pushed back. Looks like by a combination of... Wait, what did damage to it? I'm actually really surprised, because if it was a Panzerfaust, then that would have... it was probably just a Reckenwerfer. But Reckenwerfer is still facing here, so... I don't know. Bofors going up in the center from Kingpin. Excellent positioning. Excellent positioning for this sort of phase of the game. But soon enough, once the Germans bring out lots of stuff, such as these support guns, these Reckenwerfers that can fire on it, it's going to be in a bit of an exposed position. And right now, it should really use the brace structure to avoid taking so much damage from the incendiary grenades, and also the 75mm fire from that support gun. And yeah, it's going to go down. Very unfortunate to lose those resources. Wipes out a complete Volksgrenadier squad, though, so that's an interesting thing. That's no veterancy that the Germans are going to get anytime soon. Right now, Sud is pushing on the right side of the map with some engineers. Excellent job. He needs those engineers capturing points and not really in the fight, because he's got the flamethrowers on them, but right now he doesn't really need to clear out any buildings or defensive structures or heavy cover positions, so having them capture around the map is going to be useful. I would advise him to go for a second engineer squad with the minesweepers, because soon enough the Germans are gonna grab some mines. Very good wipe on that Grenadier from the mortar. So again, these mortars are just paying off for the Allies. One mortar getting 4 kills for the Soviet player, and also the British mortar getting 3 kills for Kingpin. So both of the mortars just doing their work, and the support gun also doing its work, up to Vet 1 and 7 kills, kind of forcing the Soviet infantry squads to retreat a little bit. They could go for the conscript assault package with the Papashas, but right now it's really not going to be that worth it to go with those, because there's basically quite a lot of open ground in the center that they're going to be fighting over, and at long range the Papashas are actually quite a bit inferior to the Mosin rifles that the conscripts normally have. So really, it's useful to get those Papashas later on if you need to counter units that are going to be just killing you at long range anyway. But when the Germans still have these Focus Grenadiers and the Grenadiers without any upgrades, then at long range you can stay with the Mosins and still do fine. Especially if you need munitions for something else like demo charges and the likes, which I don't see Supremini actually placing. That's a problem, in my opinion. Should place a bit more, few more demo charges and a few more mines, but he still has only one engineer squad, which is why he has not been doing it, because his engineers are always busy capturing around the map. Which is also another reason why I would go for a second engineer squad. And yeah, pretty much it seems like the Germans and the Allies are just kind of fighting over the center right now, so I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. And there's a mortar half-track on the field for Theo, but it hasn't really done much. Right now, it could use an incendiary incendiary round on the trench. It uses it, but it completely misses and doesn't really do much. These infantry sections are basically asking to die by going this close, but they're trying to throw artillery flare on the battle group first once again. And right now, the AC is trying to push up, but a pack gun from Ironfather pushes it back, and it's very lucky to escape thanks to the smoke. Here comes the artillery rounds. They might be able to do damage, and there's also sure Panzer headquarters from Big Ben. Oh, they do quite a bit of damage, but if it had been any other artillery piece, that would have wiped out pretty much everything that was here. So kind of unfortunate. Also starting to take out some of the trees in the area, which might work in the Allies' favor because of the lack of cover that's going to create. MG42 stolen by the Soviets, and it's going to be re-stolen again by the Germans because it's caught out of position a little bit and incendiary grenaded mercilessly, and the Sturm Pioneers are going to be able to wipe it out from close range. So right now the Germans are going to be able to recapture that vital piece of equipment, and right now vet-free Vickers machine gun is also going to go down if it doesn't retreat soon enough. Oh, it goes down. Very unfortunate for Jorsk. That was an extremely important asset, but it looks like the Germans did not recapture the MG42, so these conscripts and Papashas are going to be able to very easily recapture it once they deal with these Grenadiers, and they're going to be able to do that. Molotov unfortunately misses, and that's going to be the end of that. The Grenadiers are going to run with the tail between their legs, and right now, AT gun pushing up from Suit, and is going to fire on that 257 mortar half-track, but it's going to be for naught because the mortar half-track escapes. And right now, the AT gun is also going to be able to escape because there's only a couple of German units that are able to fire on it. And right now, there's a second mortar pit. No, that was the mortar pit all the time. Okay. There's a mortar pit from Kingpin, and there goes the Cromwell from Kingpin. But it's decided to go against the Schwer Panzer Corps, which is not a great idea because it's going to alert Reckenwerfer of its position. And so the Reckenwerfer is going to be able to fire on it from a very long range, being unseen. And the MG42 looks like it was taken by Jorsk, which is, in my opinion, not very good because he hasn't shown exactly a lot of good control of his machine guns. He just kind of lets them be in their trenches. And then the Germans take them out. Bit of counterattack from the Germans. It looks like the Germans are also going for some fuel caches, as are the Allies. So very good job from both players, or both sides. Actually just grabbing some resources, and that's going to be very vital later on. We do see a Stug on the field for Ironfather. That's going to be able to counter some of the vehicles that the Allies are bringing out, such as the AC. That is, unless they can manage to flank them. Remember, these British vehicles are always very speedy around the map, so they can do some good flanking maneuvers, especially in this big, wide open space that the Germans are leaving. There's a huge gap, pretty much, on the right side of the map, and right now the Germans should be shoring this up with some mines and some obstacles, maybe some tank traps, maybe some anti-tank guns. And really, it's kind of a problem that they're not sort of defending there, because the allies right now are not using that. They're kind of just going for the slugfest in the center, which in my opinion is not exactly what they should be doing, especially Sud Bremini, who has sort of the best position to go on the right side of the map. He should do that a little bit more. Of course, right now, some of his infantry has to be reinforced, so not right now, but in a bit, once his stuff is reinforced, maybe once he gets out of vehicle, I think he should go for a flanking maneuver from the right side of the map, flank this entire position, and try to take out the Stutt from the rear. There's also a Panzer IV from Theo, so the Germans going out with a lot of medium tanks, and also kind of suffering from the British artillery. Another Panzer IV. I think that Big Ben should have gone for a Panther, or maybe even a King Tiger, because his allies are going for medium tanks, and so he should be going for heavy tanks to oppose that, yeah, so just to have a complementary pick. And right now, the Schwerpanzer quarters has been destroyed by a good sort of push from the Cromwell and support from the mortar pits. Oh, so there was a different mortar pit. That's okay. So yeah, I thought there was a different mortar pit, but that's just fine. So very good job from Kingpin, managing to use all of his tools to destroy that place. That very annoying Schwerpanzer quarters. Very good ambush, actually, from Jorz, luring the Panzer IV in with, well, really, it was actually from Kingpin, luring the Panzer IV in with the Cromwell that was escaping, and luring them right into the anti-tank gun and waiting AEC from Jorz, managing to take out that Panzer IV. That's going to be a lot of fuel down the drain for the OKW, especially because that was from a Schwerpanzer quarters, and now he cannot build anything from that because it's dead. So obviously, pretty bad losses for Mr. Big Ben. Right now, he's going to have to basically rebuild, and that's going to take a long time because he does not have the fuel. While the Germans do have equal fuel income to the Allies because of their fuel cache sort of production scheme that they have going, they're not going to really be able to keep up to the Allies if the Allies keep inflicting so many losses on them. Very good flank, though, coming in from Big Ben. Going to be sort of dealing quite a bit of a nuisance to the Allied forces in the center, and going to force the reposition of these anti-tank guns. Also doing some damage to the AC with a few Panzerfausts, well placed, and it's not going to be able to destroy the AC, that is, unless anything can follow up on it, such as this Panzer IV and the Stug, which should be doing that because the anti-tank gun from Jorz was forced to reposition quite a bit. So I think that the Panzer IV and Stug could have done a pretty good flanking attack through here. And there goes an infantry section completely destroyed by the Panzer IV's 75mm fire. So losses coming in from both sides, and interestingly enough, Sud Fremini is going for a half track. So the M5 half track is going to be coming out of him from the Tankovi Battalion Command, and not a tier 4. I think I would have gone for a tier 4 if I was him, because he's got 320 fuel. So going for a couple of maybe Katyusha, or maybe even a couple of Su-85s, knowing that the enemy has those Stugs and those Panzer IVs, a couple of Su-85s would have been excellent counters to that. And they would have also sort of done really well, because they could have sort of done a lot of damage to these medium vehicles, right? This Ostwind that's coming out from Ironfather, this Stug, and that could have given them quite a lot of veterancy. They could have farmed veterancy on these sort of lighter skinned vehicles that basically are always penetrated. And then once the big heavy tanks come out, then the veterancy would have helped out against that as well. There comes a Gammon bomb, almost takes out the Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers coming in from Theo, gonna be able to maybe take out the 1742. Right now on the left side, there's a couple of Cromwells from Kingpin, trying to make a bit of a push, but they are repulsed by the anti-tank guns. The Raketenwerfer managing to get a shot that disables the Cromwell and abandons it. I'm not sure the Germans are going to be able to capture it. Right now, it looks like the Allied artillery, the 25-pounders, are firing on the battle groupers, but it's being repaired right now by Sturm Pioneers, so I don't think it's going to go down. And the Germans are spearheading a push of these Panzer Grenadiers and this Panzer IV, going to probably be able to deal quite a bit of damage to the Allies on the left side of the map because of the fact that they lost that Cromwell, so now their defenses are a little bit weaker. There is a Comet coming on the field from Jorz, which is exactly what I would have done if I was him, because his ally had gone for the earlier vehicles with Cromwells, and so that is exactly what he wanted to do to get the later game vehicle to supplement that. And right now, this Ostwind is kind of trying to charge in, but it's getting swarmed by anti-tank grenades from the Soviet units, and the Soviets basically reinforcing the area just in time to allow the British to hold on, because if that hadn't happened, then the anti-tank guns would have completely been overrun by the German infantry. So Sud Fremini coming in at the correct time, as people with that name are wont to do. And right now, yes, the MG42 is going to be trying to suppress this counter push from the Soviets, but this conscript from the flanks managing to almost get into range for the Molotov. They might be able to destroy this MG42, but they're taking also fire from the support guns, so they might have to retreat. Yep, they will have to retreat, and also their friends in the center have to retreat as well. AC trying to flank the Stug, but unfortunately gonna be destroyed by the Stug. Kind of did a half-assed job at flanking here. They really should have gone in full circle with the circle strafe. You don't really stop when you're trying to take out one of these tank destroyers, because that just gives it time to catch up with the vehicle rotation to the turret of the flanking vehicle. But the Comet is going to be able to finish off the Stug fine enough, and in fact abandoning it, so it should destroy it as quickly as possible before these Grenadiers come in and are able to lob some Panzerfaust its way and destroying the engine. Looks like a grenade is coming out of the the Comet, but it kind of misses. Takes out the mortar half-track. Stug is remanned, but this is actually kind of a mistake because it's going to allow the Cromwell to fire on it automatically with the prioritized vehicles. But it misses, and the Stug is going to be able to escape. Maybe. I'm not quite sure. Here comes a Panzer IV. Going to be doing some damage to the Allied infantry, trying to sort of protect his friend that's trying to run away. And that's going to do a pretty decent job at it because of also the Allies coming in with, the Germans coming in with a lot of infantry to protect that valuable vehicle. And right now, on the left side, it does look like Kingpin is going for an anti-building flame mortar support, which is not something that you see every day because it doesn't really do all that much. That's kind of 150 munitions, maybe down the drain. Of course, he does have 500 munitions at his disposal. And exactly what you want to be doing that with 500 munitions is getting out a Sherman Firefly to get those tulip rockets downrange on the German tanks, stunning them, destroying them, doing a lot of damage, and just in general being a nuisance because the long range of those rockets is just always very good. More Panzer IVs coming in from Theo, 2 Panzer IVs from him and a Stug as well, and his friend Iron Father also has a Stug and another Ostwind, which is interesting. Because he has gone for the Spearhead Doctrine, so I think that really saving up for a Tiger for him would have been better. And the Allies are still not going for the right side of the map. They could really easily just push on through this side, coming in for a flank, or maybe even just pushing on through like this, and coming in for a flank on this position. So, in my opinion, this is kind of a mistake that the Allies are making, to not go for that. Of course, Sutvремени is going for a very infantry-focused strategy. He has 4 conscripts with the Papashas, and he's also got a half-track that can reinforce them. Now, the M5 half-track is going to be really good at reinforcing both support weapons, which is what he's doing right now. He's keeping these anti-tank guns healthy and full on crew. So that's a very, very good thing, and it's also kind of allowing his own ally to reinforce. So those two things are useful for the half-track, but really the main reason I would see the half-track being used with 4 conscript squads. Oh, there goes the mortar from a fragmentation bombing from Iron Fighter, but that also stuns the Ostwind, gives it a optical block failure, and that kind of allows the Cromwell to come in from the flank and destroy it. The anti-tank guns were kind of confused because the Ostwind was kind of moving really, really erratically, so thankfully the anti-tank guns were not taken out by the Ostwind. Here comes the Panzer IV, but it gets completely ambushed by the Soviet infantry, and the grenades are going to be going down and destroying the engine, and the anti-tank guns very, very easily do a lot of damage to it, but unfortunately smoke comes in. Maybe attack round is going to be coming in from the anti-tank guns, but they miss, unfortunately. Very, very unfortunate for Sutvремени. Here comes another Panzer IV from the flank, and that's going to be quite bad for these anti-tank guns because they're also being charged from the center from the German infantry. Right now, the flamethrowers are doing huge damage to these Germans, but they're going to be eventually taken out by the superior numbers of the Germans. Almost taking out, in fact, entirely taking out a Grenadier squad in the process, but unfortunately, these veteran Grenadiers or Panzer Grenadiers are going to be coming through in the end and taking out the anti-tank guns as well. A very good push from the Germans, using the smoke from the Panzer IV, accidentally also concealing the advance of the German infantry squads. And right now, the Firefly has no way to defeat these infantry units that are pushing up. There was a Maxim actually placed a little bit further back from Sutvремени, which was very unfortunate. If that Maxim had been brought up a little bit more to like about here, then that would have done wonders in defeating that German push because it would have instantly suppressed all of them. But there goes another Grenadier squad. So the Grenadiers are basically being wiped out. They're all gone. Only one squad that's vet free with the LMG is left. So the Germans are really running out of elite infantry. And that's kind of a problem because they're also being kind of left with medium quality stuff. The Grenadiers are okay if they get the upgrade, even with that 0. But right now, Iron Father does not have any munitions to upgrade them, so his infantry is going to be extremely ineffective, especially against the British infantry. British infantry with those Bren guns and the veterancy, and even the air landing officer with the Bren guns, they're going to be able to just demolish these Grenadiers. So the Germans are going to have to rely on the support of their mortars and their vehicles in order to defeat the Allied infantry pushes. And that's not going to be that great if the vehicles and the mortars go down. So if the Allies are able to get a good push going and do that, is that 2 players with mortar half-tracks? Yep, it is 2 players with the Spearhead Doctrine. So 2 Tigers are going to be coming in soon. But how soon, I do not know, because right now, both of those players are going for huge amounts of medium vehicles. And that's, well, that's fine. It sometimes is better to go for a big heavy tank that you can use and micro correctly. Right now, the T-35 is on the field for Sud Fremini from the Advanced Warfare Tactics. He's using that to defend his anti-tank guns from the push from Big Ben. Big Ben has huge amounts of manpower, huge amounts of fuel, and huge amounts of pop caps, so he really should be going for something. I think he's going for a King Tiger, but he should also grab some more infantry squads and support weapons with the 1,000 manpower that he does have. As I pointed out many times, if you have a lot of manpower and you're going to save up for a big heavy tank, oh, maybe she's going for the Yag Tiger, actually, and you're going for a big heavy tank, you should be spending that manpower anyway, because you're going to be grabbing it again, and by the time you get enough fuel to get the big heavy tank, then you're going to have... There goes the 2 support guns from the Churchill AVRE from Kingpin. That was pretty funny. The 2 support guns are, of course, still alive in terms of the weapon crew, or sorry, the weapon itself. Very, very low. They could be repaired by the Storm Pioneers, which is what I would do if I was Big Ben, because I wouldn't want them to be taken out by a straight mortar shot. Again, if you're saving up for that big, heavy vehicle, you should probably use the manpower as well, because you don't probably need the manpower for the big, heavy vehicle. There goes the Yag Tiger. And again, he had 400 manpower available to him, even after going for the Yag Tiger. So that's 1 more Raketenwerfer that he could have brought out to help push against the AVRE and the Cromwell and the Firefly that pushed against them on the left side of the map. What kind of difference an extra Raketenwerfer could have made, maybe we don't know, but it would have definitely helped him out. Now, AVRE is already reloaded and is going to do a huge 280mm petard mortar round. Unfortunately, he decides to not do that because he wants to fire on the Raketenwerfer. No, but then change his idea again, and he's going to fire on this huge blob, and there goes an entire just group of Germans. That was 1 Volksgrenadier going down, which is fine. And right now, the Yag Tiger is also not able to fire on the AVRE because of the battle group scores. But the AVRE takes quite a lot of damage from looks like the Panzerschreck from the Storm Pioneers, and also the fire of the Raketenwerfer, which is now bet free, but manages to escape. AVRE, excellent choice in my opinion by Kingpin, because of the enemy on his side being very, very defensive and defensive-minded. Having that sort of very, very good defensive buster is going to be excellent. T-34-85 is going to be chasing down these very, very low health German vehicles. Right now, unfortunately, none of these Allied units are able to support it because of the smoke and because of the fact that the Allied pillars are busy microing, so they couldn't get the attack round on the Panzer IVs. But very good job from the T-34-85, taking out that Panzer IV very, very easily, as T-34-85s are very good at doing. Right now, it looks like Sud Fremini was at least able to decap the strategic point on the right side, and I think he should use the T-34-85s that he now does have to make a good flanking push, because these T-34-85s are excellent at pushes from the flanks, being very good medium tanks, and right now the Maxim is capturing the munitions point in the center, and it's going to be able to just completely execute these Panzer Grenadiers from close range. They stood absolutely no chance. And there goes an incendiary grenade on the trench. Infantry section going to be able to get out of that easily enough. Right now, unfortunately, Kingpin has lost both of his mortars, which is not that good because they were both extremely useful. There goes the half-track from Sud Fremini. Unfortunately, died, but he went for another one, which is sitting in the base, which is kind of unfortunate because right now he really could be using that in the front to reinforce these anti-tank guns. And also to have these conscripts sort of reman destroyed weapons such as the mortar and the anti-tank gun, and then still being able to reinforce. That's one thing the half-track is extremely useful for. Whenever you remand something on the field, you don't have to retreat your infantry back to base to get them resupplied. And right now, Jorsk and Sudvremeni are able to get a very, very good push in on the Germans and luring in another Panzer IV into the line of anti-tank guns. The Germans are just still walking down this road, or I guess driving down this road with these anti-tank guns. They've been on this road for like how long? I do not know. Here comes the fragmentation bombing, stunning the T-34-85s, but unfortunately there isn't anything to follow up. If there had been German tanks able to follow up on this, they would have been able to do a lot of damage to these T-34-85s, maybe even kill one if they had been focusing their fire well enough. And right now, only the pack gun from Iron Fighter is able to fire on these T-34-85s downrange, which is kind of okay, but kind of not enough, really, because the T-34-85s are going to be able to drive away quickly enough. And there are 4 conscript squads with the conscript repair pack from the Advanced Warfare. They're able to very easily repair these T-34-85s, which is one of the advantages of the doctrine, really. And while a single conscript squad does not repair that quickly, 4 conscript squads will repair extremely quickly, and will be able to sort of get the vehicles back in action very, very fast, which is very nice. And here comes the Tiger on the field from Iron Fighter. Right now, Sudvremeni knows that the Tiger is coming from the extremely useful advanced radio intercept, and now basically they can prepare a little bit more, especially if he's going to be talking to his allies about that. Now the Germans do have the Yak Tiger and the normal Tiger, so also with a Panther on the field from Theo, they need to make this push count, because right now they're starting to lose on VPs as well. They have 200 VPs versus the Allies' 400, because the Allies have had control of the center VP for a long, long time. And if they wanted, really, they could have control of the left side VP as well, which really, it depends on how aggressive Kingpin decides to be, which right now he isn't really being the most aggressive he could be. With the force composition that he does have, he could push very easily. The AVRE is at 40 kills, which is insane for an AVRE that's been on the field for like, what, 5-6 minutes? So that's very nice for him. And right now, 2 Comets on the field for Jorsk and 3 T-34-85s from Such. So he's going to have a very, very good flanking force, lots of medium tanks of very good quality. The Allies can make a huge push, especially with the support of these anti-tank guns and a huge Soviet horde that is now able to just completely roll over the infantry from Big Ben, taking out the only Vet 5 squad remaining to him, and that's going to be extremely good because it's going to be forcing the Tiger to expose itself to sort of blunt the attack from the conscripts. Right now, another German squad going to be taking a lot of damage. These Panzer Grenadiers being forced to retreat almost takes out the conscript squad, but I think it's going to be able to escape. T-34-85 is trying to make a bit of a flanking maneuver, and right now here comes a rocket attack from Jorsk with the strafing support. That's going to be all of his munitions gone, and that's kind of unfortunate because he's also pushing up with the Comets. So he would kind of want to be using the cruise self-defense and the white phosphorus shell to avoid his tanks getting fired on, but unfortunately they do get fired on. There goes the Tiger. Pretty decent trade of the Comet for the Tiger. Here comes another rocket strafe, but not really doing all that much damage. Sudvremeni is going to be coming into the T-34-85s. First T-34-85 gets taken out by the Yak Tiger that's sniping from the rear, which also is probably the reason that Comet went down so easily. And right now the T-34-85s are going to be pushing through and trying to deal damage to the anti-tank line of the Germans, but the anti-tank line of the Germans is a little bit too strong. 2 Stugs, one of them going down, 2 pack guns, one of them almost going down, but still able to fire on this last T-34-85, and the Panther being concealed by the smoke, able to destroy the last T-34-85. Stug still not really firing, I think, because of the smoke that's blocking it, but really the big dealer of damage right now is the Yak Tiger, doing a huge amount of damage to all of the T-34-85s. Right now, all the T-34-85s are dead. There are 2 half-tracks on the field for Sudvremeni, which is, in my opinion, a bit of a mistake, because he really doesn't need 2 half-tracks. He only needs 1. And right now, the Panther very lucky to escape with just a tiny sliver of health. So, really going to be able to escape, but should have been dead by rights, which is kind of a sad thing, because had one of the Allied vehicles been a little bit more resilient, then that Panther would have gone down. In fact, the 2 anti-tank guns doing quite a good work for the Allies, and managing to get quite a lot of shots into the German vehicles. That definitely helped the Allies in that engagement. Right now, Jorsk is down to 1 Comet, and Suit has lost all of his T-3485s, which is kind of a shame. But he's going to be able to rebuild at least a couple right away because he has 355 fuel and 39 fuel income. So by the time he gets the manpower that he needs, he went for a second half track because he needs one for a quad mount. That's a very interesting choice for Suit Fremini, and one that I kind of like, actually. The half tracks are really, really underrated for the Soviet player because of the fact that this half track is essentially a very, very good suppression machine, right? So if you're getting charged on by the German infantry, this is going to be much better than any Maxim. Maybe not better than a MG42, but this is not an MG42, actually. This is a Maxim. So I thought that maybe he still had that stolen MG42, but it looks like maybe Jorsk has that. Yes, Jorsk has the MG42. And really, the main advantage of the half-track compared to the machine gun is the fact that it doesn't have an arc of fire. It can fire 360 degrees, so if you're getting flanked by the Germans, then that's going to be able to shut down that flank instantly. So it's nice to have as a sort of extra defense for something like anti-tank guns, because you may not always have the ability to leave machine guns to cover your anti-tank guns, and the Germans might be trying to, in the heat of battle, while you're microing your vehicles, flank the anti-tank guns and destroy them with their infantry. With the half-track defending the anti-tanks, that's not going to happen. That's absolutely not going to happen. Airlining officer pushing in the center for the center VP. There's a Bren that someone dropped, so that could be grabbed by these pioneers. Right now, the Germans are just desperately trying to stymie the flow of Allied VP gain. On the left side, looks like Kingpin was able to pretty much destroy the forces of Big Ben, and his AVRE is 64 kills. Looks like Big Ben is really not used to playing against the AVRE. He needs to learn how to play against it. One of the ways is the Jagdtiger, but the Jagdtiger has been on the center pretty much most of the game. So not really being able to fire on the AVRE on the left flank. In fact, right now the Jagdtiger is doing quite a lot of damage to the British tanks, and that's kind of a problem because they need to be a little bit more mindful of the Jagdtiger. They can't really just blunder into it and give it free shots on their vehicles. That's not exactly savory for your health. And there goes that Grenadier squad from a mortar round. Which mortar, though? That's the question. Looks like Jorsk has a mortar pit, and there goes Ironfighter, quitting the game. And I think that's gonna be the end of the match. Very, very good for the Allies because they were sort of slugging them out and managing to win against the Germans in a frontal slugging match. So that's very interesting, partially due to the fact that the British players were able to use their Fireflies well, partially because Suit Fremini was able to support them with the anti-tank guns and the conscripts coming in always, so it's sort of providing the backbone for the British vehicles to act on, because vehicles only never really do much, but if the vehicles are supported by infantry and support weapons, and then you have your own support weapons that are able to be reinforced by that half-track, then that's a very different story. Right now, the Panthers are just running through wild on the left flank, able to destroy the Sherman Firefly and the Cromwell from the British. That Panther might go down, but it does not because the Panthers reload quicker than the Firefly ever could dream of reloading, even with the veterancy. And right now, the AVRE is also in trouble because the two Panthers are able to just run through it. But there is the flanking Comet coming in to hopefully save the day. Here comes the cavalry. Maybe it's going to be able to save the AVRE. AVRE pops the crew self-repairs from the Royal Engineers, and that, in fact, is going to be giving it some smoke. Hopefully, that's going to be enough to sort of protect it, but that's also kind of not giving the Comet the line of sight able to fire on the Panther, because Jorsk was not microing that. He was microing here in the center. T-3485 is chasing down the Jagdtiger. The Jagdtiger taking a huge amount of damage, probably from the anti-tank guns and from maybe some Sherman Fireflies, because it does have a gun crit. Here comes the strafing run from the Hawker Typhoons, and along with the T-3485, is going to be able to destroy the Jagdtiger. There's also a Panther that the T-3485 is eyeing. Here comes the Hunt, and now there goes the Panther as well. So both of them going down from this merciless Soviet tanker. He's going to be getting here at the Soviet Union for that, and maybe also he's going to be able to get out alive from this pack gun because the game is over. 40 minutes in, pretty much. Yes, that was exactly the anti-tank gun and the Comet doing the damage there, and right now it looks like the AVRE died. What happened to the Panther? Panther managed to escape. So very lucky on that front. No, actually, then the Comet Tank was that one. Okay, so that was entirely the job of the anti-tank on destroying that Yak Tiger. Very, very good. Very, very good usage of those anti-tank guns from Sutvriemini. And in general, I like what he did with the conscripts. He knew that his ally was going for a lot of tanks, so he decided to focus on infantry and support weapons, and then getting them on the field and keeping them on the field with his half tracks. What I think was his biggest mistake was that he didn't go for these right side points enough. He should have gone for flanking maneuvers more often. He should have gone for even harassment more often, just sending in a lone squad such as the engineers or one conscript. Conscript with the Molotovs are able to take down fuel caches quite easily, so just sending them around just to see what the Germans are doing. And that's also something that the Germans should have done on the right side. After maybe like 4 or 5 minutes of the game, they didn't send anything to this right side of the map, and the Allies were able to just hold the entirety of the right side of the map with a fuel cache, a munitions cache, and another fuel cache, and another fuel point, and a victory point. So that's like, what, 5 valuable points with 2 machine guns. So that's kind of a waste for the Germans to allow the Allies to do that. They should have forced the Allies to fight for it and send resources and troops on the right side to actually fight them, because that would have also sort of forced Sutvriemini to send in some anti-tank guns perhaps, and sort of divide up his anti-tank line that caused so much pain and grief to the Germans. Whenever they would come in and meet the 2 anti-tank guns from the Soviet player and the 6-pounder from Jorsk, so 3 anti-tank guns ready to fire on their vehicles. Maybe if they had been attacking a little bit more fiercely on the right side, one or 2 of those anti-tank guns would have been on the right side, and so when they attacked in the center, they would have faced 1 or 2 anti-tank guns and not 3, along with the vehicle support. So that's also something that they could have done. On the left side of the map, I think Big Ben played fine while he had his defenses, but then once his defenses crumbled, he sort of crumbled like a house of cards. And that was kind of a problem because he went for that Yag Tiger, right? And then he didn't really do much with it. So I think a King Tiger would have been much more useful for him. Along with, again, more usage of Raketenwerfers would have helped him out greatly. I really don't know about Theo. Theo was on the right side, and the other guy, Iron Father, was in the center. He went for way too many Ostwind and Stugs. At some point, he should have gone for a Tiger. And, well, he did go for a Tiger at one point, but he kind of wasted it. And so, really, the Germans should be a little bit more careful with their heavy tanks. Good from Theo to notice what his allies were doing and going for some Panthers, because they definitely needed some kind of anti-tank that was able to zip around the map and do that. So having that Panther is exactly what you need for something like it, and he used them decently enough. So I really think that Theo was the MVP for the Germans. He didn't even float all that much compared to his friends. Big Ben also floated a lot, as did Kingpin. Kingpin was near his pop cap most of the game, was very, very defensive in his play, so I think that what he could have done better is to be a little more aggressive and use his resources to their full potential. And then Jorsk, Jorsk was fine, although he only at the end went for a Churchill Crocodile, which is in my opinion a mistake because the Churchill Crocodile is extremely effective against pack guns, which is what I use it for whenever I play with the British. Really, you use that to clear out the pack guns, and then you bring in your other vehicles to sort of follow up on it. Because the Comets, while they're good, and they're really good, like having 2 or 3 Comets from Jorsk really helped out the Allies and their mobility. While they're good, they're not exactly all that good against packs. That's pretty much their main counter, and when you have something that can counter the packs, then you can move in with the Comets and be much more safe about it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the cast. Hope you learned something. Tell me in the comments below what you think about the game, and I'll see you soon. What the fuck is that? Oh well, game is just smoking some kind of LSD. I'll see you soon.